Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today is all about the ultimate University Essentials guide. It's what you do and also what you do not need, and also bonus list of items that people tend to forget, and I was the one that remembered them all. So that was very useful to know. So I spent 7 years at uni, which means I'm a certified expert on what you do and you don't need. So let's get started with the list. Let's start with the bedroom, because I feel like that's the exciting one where you can, add your personal touches, add the cute things like fairy lights if you're a girly girl and want it all cute and cozy, especially in autumn when we're going to start uni. So yeah, I'm going to go through the list and then I'm just going to talk about some of the things that I don't think you really need that, you might think be useful and cute, but just don't take them, you don't need it. Okay, so first is your bed. So pillows and a duvet. Now I had a duvet where I had two togged part of the duvets stuck together. There was a little pressed button thing at the top of each corner. So I could just use one of them in summer, or I could press them together inside the duvet cover and have it for winter. So that's a good tip. Don't just buy like a really thick one, because in summer you'll hate it and you'll just want the sheet. Obviously the fun part of duvet cover. So, choose a design you love. I would highly recommend finding one that's like a bit more, like all seasons. Don't go and get a really summery one because you just might not fancy it in winter. Get one that is, just your style and that you're gonna love. Then also a fitted sheet. Now I actually didn't get fitted sheets. I just got a king size normal flat sheet, which I was fine with because I didn't mind tucking it under and have little ruffled edges. But if you're someone that just want the ease of like popping it over the corners, a fitted sheet is really good. Also remember that in university halls, a lot of the beds are 3/4 beds. Don't sort of buy a single. If you're gonna get one, go oversized, because so you can tuck it under if you need to, and then use it in future when hopefully you get a nice big double bed. So get a double or a king size or a queen size, something like that. Also, just to be aware, the IKEA things like mattress toppers and mattresses, they're a very specific size and they're not necessarily the size of standard UK mattresses. So just be aware, don't go and buy a sheet that's not the right size from the place that we all love to shop. Okay, then a mattress topper. So you can get like pretty cheap ones, which are basically a layer of foam, or you can get slightly more expensive ones, which I don't know, have a bit more to it, but it can be really good. But I would advise maybe not taking one until you get there. You might not know the size of your bed, so just wait until you're there before you get one. And also your mattress might be actually okay. Now things like cushions and blankets, I highly recommend a really nice big cozy blanket. But when it comes to cushions, really don't, I wouldn't take more than one or two. I think a lot of people want lots of cutesy like decorative stuff, but to be honest, most of the time if it's not a really comfortable one that you can actually lay your head on or lean against and it's like nice and soft and manipulative, they're just gonna get in the way and they'll end up in the corner of your room. So I just wouldn't really take more than two. Now obviously printed photos, I feel like this is just like a classic student thing that you have in your room. I always loved having mine up. You can get lots of free ones if you get like a first order. I think you can get free prints, give you maybe 40 for like a couple of pounds. Anyway, definitely get those. Now when it comes to plants, I would highly recommend taking one, and please make it a real one, because there's nothing like sort of actually feeling that you've got a real plant in your room. If you want plastic ones, maybe try and get them secondhand, so you're not just buying new plastic. Just maybe think a bit more like eco-consciously. But yeah, if you want them all the way around your room, then just think that obviously if they're real, they're gonna need to be sort of looked after and stuff. So just think about what's right for you. Real plants are very, very good for your sort of health and well-being. Now, if you want a nice cozy room, also some fairy lights, they can make it so nice. I definitely had string fairy lights. I think I've actually still got them and I think they still work, which is crazy. I would recommend getting battery powered ones. Command hooks can be really useful. Just make sure you're pulling them off in the right way. You pull them down, not outwards, to take them off. That's definitely something you need to remember. Then an alarm clock. Now, very underrated alarm clocks. Your phone is great, but there have been lots of occasions where people have missed deadlines, missed getting up for exams. Just take a really cheap alarm clock and use it, especially during those weeks when you really need to be up and you've just got a backup. Then just a few other things: books, notepads, one vase for flowers if you're someone that really loves that. I didn't actually do that, but it's something that now I do all the time. I loved having a vase of flowers, so do that rather than just using a student-free mug that you get in Freshers Week. And finally, a hot water bottle. University dorms and the private houses can typically get very cold if they're single glazed. So as well as the slipper socks I mentioned earlier, a hot water bottle can be so good. You can actually get really long ones, if you didn't know already, that you can sort of hug and wrap along your whole body, which sounds strange but is very comforting, you know, when you just are so tired after a long day of uni, you just want to get nice and cozy, especially in autumn when you're starting freshers week and stuff. So yeah, definitely recommend hot water bottle. Okay, that's everything for the bedroom, I think. Again, there'll be a list in the description, so go and check that out, and it'll have everything on there. Now let's get on to storage. So the thing is with storage is that you don't want to take too many storage boxes and items if they don't fit in your room, because then they're just going to be stashed against the side of the wall, taking up loads of space, limiting the floor space that you've got to walk in, which is really, really annoying. So a lot of people might be thinking a clothes rail, storage boxes like those typical sort of IKEA boxes, and then things like stationery organizers, jewelry organizers. Like, these are all great, but what I would do, I would just go with a few that you don't mind if they don't fit, and you're happy to kind of have them on the floor space if you needed to. So a clothes rail can be really good if you're someone that you've already seen what room you're going to be in, there's just limited space. Then a clothes rail, a good quality one though, don't get like a flimsy one, just this is maybe something to like invest a little bit more in if you can. Another really useful thing is a over door hook. Now I got some, I think I got some free in my like freshers pack, and they weren't very good quality and they wobbled all over the door. So if you can get one that kind of stretches along your door so it's kind of a bit more stable, that's what I'd recommend. I'll try and find one online and put one in the comments that I think sort of looks good and has good reviews, so hopefully that helps. The things that you've probably already remembered, but I will just list out anyway, are things for your laundry. So you want laundry detergent. I wouldn't bother with fabric conditioner. It's like there's a lot of arguments over if it actually does anything, so I would forget the fabric conditioner if you're trying to save a bit of money. But if you like sort of smell, if you like a really nice smell, then I get those like Lenore Unstoppables, something like that, which makes me feel very fresh. But if not, just get your standard laundry detergent. It's gonna like do the job and it's gonna be nice and cheap. Also, a good tip is just get the supermarket own brand. Don't go and get kind of the expensive brands. This will save a lot of money over the long term, please believe me. And then you can get all these other things like sort of color catchers and dryer sheets, and like they do have their use, but to be honest, if you just separate your clothes well and make sure the temperature's not on too high so it won't sort of shrink your fibers in the clothes, then you don't really need them. I never bought them at uni, so I wouldn't advise you to either. Now, time for the cleaning supplies. So this is something that a lot of you will just want to share with the people you're living with, but I would definitely recommend taking a few things. And then of course the vital toilet cleaner slash bleach, something to clean your toilet with, highly essential. A lot of people don't clean their toilet at uni and they end up very disgusting. Luckily I lived with people that were pretty good, like very clean overall, so yeah, definitely get a nice lemon or like a pine toilet cleaner. And again, just get the supermarket brands. You don't need to splash out on an expensive brand if you're trying to save money. A drain cleaner thing, which is like a big gel pack, multi-surface antibacterial spray for all your general cleaning, loads of toilet rolls. But what I would not take is a sponge on a stick. Sponge on a stick, those really awkward like things to clean up trays and stuff, they get all grimy, they never seem to work, they're very sort of cheap, lots of plastic. So if you can, just try and get some natural cotton sponges and cotton cloths that are reusable. You can wash them again, it's a bit more sustainable. And yeah, those things are just horrible. They always get really manky. I feel like manky is such an old word to use. So anyway, they do get very manky. So don't buy those, please don't. But now let's go to the kitchen, because this is my favorite bit and my speciality. So now I'm gonna go through all of the kitchen stuff, and I've got it all laid in front of me so I won't forget anything. I've got the essential stuff, and then I've also got some things that are not essential but are really nice to have, and I think a lot of people like benefit from it, and it's something you can share as well. First is a nice big chopping board. They are much more versatile than the flimsy ones. Also, the really thin ones tend to actually warp when they go in the dishwasher or they're with hot water, so it's better to get a thick one. Next are the knives. So I would recommend getting one large one, one small one. This is not an essential. I'll do the non-essentials at the end. But if you can take a knife sharpener, because you're sharing knives so much, they get blunt very quickly and very easily, especially if the knives are not super high quality. So if you can, it's really good to take a knife sharpener with you too. A spatula, a wooden spoon, also good for baking, a normal spoon for serving, and a ladle for your curries, your soups, your ramens, your stews, things like that. So a ladle is really, really useful. Also a pair of scissors. People tend to always forget this, but it's something really useful to have, so I definitely recommend taking a nice, good, big pair of scissors for your kitchen. Okay, now on to pans. So if you want to just go minimal, I would just take one big saucepan and one big frying pan, because you can do whatever you need to do in both of these. If you want to just do something small, say just heat up some leftovers, you can still do it in this. So if you're sort of tight on space or worried that you don't want to spend loads of money, I would just get one that's a really decent size of a large saucepan and a large frying pan. So some people might not class this as an essential, but to me it is. I think for your pastas, for your potatoes, all those kind of things that people, and particularly students, are making on a day-to-day basis, get yourself a colander. You can get collapsible ones, but it just happens to be that the one I've got here is a very large one that will take up a lot of space. So yeah, just think about space as well. If you can find collapsible ones, that could be really useful as a student too. So another few essentials: a mixing bowl, a measuring jug, and these are really useful. So these are sets of, well, I've just got some random ones here, but they're basically food clips. So I've got large ones, you can get small ones as well, like this, and then also just wooden clothes pegs for putting on your packets of nuts and seeds and flour, things like that. So definitely get a nice big pack of those, as you will probably find that a lot go missing throughout your time, definitely first term when everyone is starting to share everything. Then definitely an essential is oven gloves. So get yourself a really good quality pair. Silicone is also really good sort of heat protectant. So yeah, get yourself a pair of oven gloves. And along with the oven gloves, tea towels, I'd get a big wad of these, and I would not spend much money on them because they will probably get wrecked in your first year of uni. So definitely get a good pack of those. Also a set of weighing scales, really good for baking as well if you're someone that likes to bake. Cheese grater, a peeler, and also a tin and can opener. Do not forget these. Now I'm going to call these essentials. So these are reusable bags to store sandwiches and food. Don't get the disposable ones. It's much more environmentally friendly to get ones that you can just reuse. And also reusable straws. You can get a thick smoothie straw, and then you can get a thin metal straw and the cleaner, and then just use these over and over again, and it's so much more sustainable than plastic straws. Now for cooking, get yourself a really big oven tray and then a slightly smaller casserole dish. And then finally, obviously you're gonna need plates, bowls, side plates. Definitely get yourself a good set of those. It is the perfect thing to get some like nice colorful ones if you're like me and just want to pop a color. So yeah, I would get something like that. And then obviously don't forget your cutlery. So get a few sets. I wouldn't get a single set. I would get a pack of 4, and or get an even bigger set and split it with your friends, because they always go missing and you just don't want to spend money on nice cutlery that just gets lost. Then essentials are obviously some glasses and some mugs. Don't take loads of mugs because you'll probably be shocked at the limited space you have as a student. So maybe take 2 or 3 that you really love. Then definitely essentials, a reusable water bottle and a reusable like thermos mug. I use these nearly every day of my 7 years of university life. And this, believe it or not, was actually from a big Tesco shop in my first ever week of university. And this is what I bought. It's the brand is Thermos, and it's the perfect size, not too big, not too small. It's a straw that you can clean with a little brush, and I love it. I've had it for about 9 years now, and it's still going strong. Then one thing I forgot to mention earlier is a silicone ice tray. So it's nice and bendy. You can really easily pop out the ice. I've just cleaned it, hence why the water's coming off it. And the brand is Joy. Anyway, I'll put the link below, and go get one. Don't get the hard plastic ones. These are so much easier. Now onto Tupperware. So you will love me by remembering these. Get a range of sizes. Now these are the ones that I love. I've used them for so many years. I'll put the link down below because honestly, these are just fabulous. This is a really good size for storing leftovers. And then if you're someone like me who likes to kind of do sauces and dressings, or like to have kind of little fruit and yogurt pots, these are also really good. Don't bother yourself in getting like super aesthetic ones. For me personally, it's better just to get ones that work really well, that you can see through, that you can microwave, and that clip on properly to get a properly like airtight seal. Also, look how cute is that one. Now let's go on to the non-essentials but very fun to have list. So non-essential but very fun is a blender for things like smoothies, and also a hand blender. I use this all the time, especially in autumn when I started uni, for soups and things like that, where you can just blend it straight in the pan. Cocktail glasses, measuring cups, and a sieve if you're someone that particularly loves to bake as well. These are really useful. Heat-proof mat, does what it says on the tin. Then I know I mentioned it earlier, but a knife sharpener, it will extend the lifespan of your knives. Then a few more utensils, a garlic crusher. I personally don't use it much. I actually just chop up my garlic really finely with a sharp knife. And then a whisk and a rolling pin. So again, if you're into baking and like doing sort of, I don't know, cute things on the weekend with your friends, maybe homemade pizzas, these are really useful too. Tongs and and a potato masher. And of course, paper straws. I got a really big bumper pack. It probably had like 300 in there in the pack. You'll use them a lot. They're more planet friendly than, you know, plastic ones. I don't even know if plastic ones are still sold anymore. But anyway, get yourself a big bumper pack, especially for your first semester, and then continue just using the metal ones throughout the year that I showed you earlier for sustainability reasons. And then finally, a tray. So this is really nice if you're someone that likes eating in bed or cozied up. I personally don't like eating in bed, but I do have like a cup of tea and maybe just like a little dessert or something in bed. So I think this one's from IKEA. I will put a link to that one if it still exists, or maybe another one. But yeah, get a nice big one, don't get a puny one. And yeah, it's great for sort of evenings in when you can't be bothered to kind of transport everything to your room. And if you don't know already, I am actually a food creator mainly. So I do loads of recipes. I was called the Starving Student originally, if you recognize that name. I'm now just my name, Lauren Laver, but I will put up little clips here of like my Instagram and where you can find recipes, because they're all basically recipes that students would find really useful. They're budget friendly, easy, no fuss, batch cook, things that you can freeze, things that store really well. So yeah, if you struggle for like recipe inspiration and want recipes from someone that was a student for 7 years and still does budget recipes that are really easy to do, then I'm your gal. Go and check me out, obviously, gotta plug myself. So yeah, I hope that was really useful. So now we'll look at the bonus items. So these are things that people always forget, or that just I would highly recommend because for whatever reason, safety, hygiene, aesthetics, whatever it is, they're just really useful to have. So let's get started. The first one is a portable charger. So this holds like four phones worth of charges. It lasts absolutely forever. So if you're on trips or big nights out and you've got a bag, you can put it in. This is really useful. Also really good in the library. If you forget your main phone charger, then you've got this as a backup. Secondly is blister plasters. Now, I don't think I really need to say more than that. Girls, especially in heels or anything like that, just take them. New shoes on a night out, just keep these in your handbag. Third, hand gel, just useful, especially if you're someone that's gonna get a lot of public transport and things like that, and then you're gonna be eating your lunch at uni with your hands. Just recommend. I think you want to get at least 70% alcohol, otherwise I don't think it does anything. So anyway, make sure you get some hand gel. Fourth is batteries. So I'd recommend Duracell, to be honest. They're the best ones. They're the ones that just last forever in my eyes. Get a big pack of AAAs and AAs, split them with your housemates if it's something you want to wait till you get there, but there's always things that you need batteries for that you forget. So that's things like remote controls, tech devices, and it's just so annoying when you're in a student house or you're somewhere where your remote control for the TV just stops working. It's normally batteries. So take a pack of these with you in your first week. Okay, I think we're on number 5 now. So I would say take a bottle opener key ring. It's a bit of a niche one, but even if you're not someone that drinks sort of beers and stuff like that, it's just very useful, really good, probably like 50p. Number 6 is a padlock. So if you're someone that you want to join the gym, or maybe you want to, try something out at uni, this will be really useful. And obviously, if in places like libraries, sometimes they have their own lockers as well. So it's always nice to just make sure you've got one. You don't have to buy one that's like £5 from a university shop. 6. Now I highly would recommend this. There were horror stories of lots of my friends losing their work at the last minute before deadlines. This is a backup hard drive. So mine is huge because of all the YouTube stuff I do now. So mine's 4 terabytes. You don't need that. Just get a 1 terabyte hard drive. I'll put all the links for everything that I have in obviously the description. But this is incredibly useful. Back up your work. I would try and do it once every fortnight, especially leading up to exam season, deadlines, when you just gotta have all your work safe. Highly recommend. You do not want to lose your work and your assignments at the last minute. And then I also got to go with it. I got a protective case. Again, I'll link it. The one that I've got, I do all the research, so you don't have to. So this one is a little bit rogue, but this is a laptop cooler, and it seems a little bit techie, but I think this honestly has extended the life of my laptop. I think I've probably had the same laptop since 3rd year of university. I've probably had it about 7-8 years now, and I honestly heavily relied on this. So if you're someone that's got a subject, especially where you're going to be, I did architecture, so I was rendering a lot. If you use editing software, anything where your laptop's gonna be working hard, get one of these. It's literally a USB cable, goes straight into the side of your laptop. You can probably get an adapter for USB-C as well. And yeah, it just keeps your laptop cool, especially when you're, those days when you're on it all day, just trying to churn out loads of work. Okay, I think this one's really important, and it really bugs me when people don't have the hard version. So this is a hard laptop sleeve. So a lot of people have the nice aesthetic soft ones, you know, that are pink and cream. Don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have one, but they're not very protective. Like if you drop your bag, or these are also waterproof as well. So if you know, spill something in your bag, your laptop is fully protected. So please, 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 I'll link this one that I've got. Please don't get a soft one. It is one of my it's one of my like icks in the like tech student space. Just get one that's protective, like you'll thank me later. Okay, just some other things that I'll quickly list out. So blue tack, pack of cards, so good for your first week at uni, don't forget. Slipper socks, and when I say slipper socks, don't just take one pair, you want to take 3 or 4 pairs, because especially in some student houses, if you may be in first year or going into them in second year, it gets pretty cold in those single glazed kind of classic Victorian converted student houses. So lots of slipper socks. And you probably know this already, but a extension lead. Get a really big extension lead with like 4 to 6 plugs. Make sure it's like a really safe one. Check it's got all like the certification that it needs. And make sure it's really long. So don't go for like a 2-meter one. Go for like a maybe a 5-meter one, where if the plug is awkwardly on the other side of your bed, you've got enough of like the wire to come all the way around to where you're like typically going to be on your phone by a bedside table. So yeah, maybe a 5-meter one. And also if there's loads of wire, you can just shove most of it under your bed, so it doesn't really matter. And another really good one is earplugs. So a lot of my friends were very light sleepers. I was quite lucky, I'm a deep sleeper, never needed earplugs. But earplugs are very, very good, especially if you're in a noisy dorm, which for some people is great, but for other people, you know, and you've got an exam tomorrow, you just want to get some sleep. So some earplugs are a really good tip as well. So that is everything. That is my ultimate university essentials guide / shopping list. Another tip is obviously if you have them at home already, just please like take them from your family, you know, sometimes like without them knowing. I'm kidding, make sure they're fine with it. But yeah, take what you can from your home, save the money. Yeah, enjoy university if you're going soon, or if you've just started, or wherever you are in your stage. And yeah, see you next time.